Hey everybody, this is Steven from PopCultureMaven.com. We're back with this week's, well, I guess at this point, it's last week's new comic book reviews. It was a busy week. We had the election. We won't talk about that. But anyways, it was kind of crazy last week on many different levels. And then this weekend, I was very busy. I was helping out a friend and some other stuff. So yeah, it just got to be very hectic and busy. So I'm recording this Monday night. So hopefully it'll work better for next week. Just want to forewarn that probably the holiday Thanksgiving will probably throw a monkey wrench into everything. The books may get delayed. We don't know. We won't know until we get closer there. But I think towards the end of the month, I think the reviews are going to be a little funky because of the holidays. So we'll just kind of roll with the punches and whatever we get, whenever they ship to us. So this week it's actually kind of a small week. So let's just get right into it. First up, we have Absolute Superman #1, written by Jason Aaron, with artwork by Rafa Sandoval. So this is the third of the first wave of Absolute titles. And so what it is so you're going to see you'll see flashbacks to Krypton, and then you'll see present day. So mostly this first issue really deals with Krypton, and there's basically class levels, and the clerics who are the science are there at the top of the kind of food chain, and then the labor guild is kind of at the bottom. And so Jor-El was in the science academy and everything, but when he gave his graduation speech, he talked about the environment and how the planet's going to explode and stuff. Well, maybe not. He didn't know, but things are doing bad. And then of course he lost his class status because of that. So he's down. He's down. It's studying the environment. He goes down in a mine and discovers that there's like a leak in the planet. And so there's that going on. So you see that, and you see his mom. She's basically a worker. She's fixing farm equipment. So they're kind of real people. And in some ways, kind of like so basically what Aaron is doing there is they're like the Kents, and that's what he's doing. And so then we cut to the present day where Kal-El is on Earth. And his suit kind of talks to him. The best way I could kind of describe it reminded me a little bit of Booster Gold's little robot ship, his little robot buddy Skeet, where it kind of tells him, "Hey, you have this much power left, and blah blah blah. You need sun to reestablish." And then he's saving workers from Diamond Mine, where the company's like working people to death, basically. And so, he comes in and helps the people. And then we meet Lois Lane, who is Agent Lane. So there's that. So basically what Aaron has kind of done is he's taken the story of Superman that we know and kind of turned it a little bit here and there. I think the big reveal, where it's quite interesting, is that Kal-El is not a baby on Krypton. He's roughly, we just guessing because it's not said, I'd say he's maybe 10 to 12 ish. So in a lot of ways that's a little bit like Kara, Supergirl, because she was older when she came to Earth. But so there's that kind of twist. So the interesting thing I think that I did like about this is that Aaron is going to kind of do a fair amount of Krypton story, which I think is actually a good thing. It kind of splits it up and kind of keeps it momentum. Sandoval's artwork is really nice. It's a really great looking book. I would say of the three, the Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman of the Absolute books, I still think Wonder Woman is absolutely my favorite. I think it got off to the best start. I think Batman would be second. And I think Superman, I'm not saying it's bad. I actually did enjoy it, but I think it was a little slower out of the gate. I think there's a lot to digest what Aaron is doing there, and I do like I said, I really like the Krypton stuff a lot. We just don't get to see Superman that much, but that's okay, because obviously that'll play in later as the series goes along. But I just think, I don't think it's a weak book or anything. I think it's well worth checking out. And I think it's really great for new readers because it's like as the other three. It's the heroes that we know, but they're slightly different. And I think it's a good take on them. I just think that Wonder Woman has kind of been the best of the bunch so far. And once again, it's not discounting the others. I just think Superman's it looks like it's a little bit of slower build, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. So it's well worth checking out. Definitely worth picking up. I think all three are really, really well worth picking up. And like I said, Sandoval's art is really, really nice. It's a really great looking book. And so we'll kind of see where it goes in the second issue, but I do like the first issue. But we'll see where Aaron and Sandoval take it. Next up, we have Living Hell #1, written and drawn by Caitlin Yarsky. So what this is Jerome Jamil. He's a bartender, and we find out that he's an escaped demon from hell. And so what it is, he's started a family, he's married and they have a daughter. And, he kind of, he has to kind of, have a low profile because bounty hunters from hell, they're shepherds, are always looking for escaped demons. So one day a shepherd finds him, and he ends up casting a spell on the shepherd, and the shepherd kills himself. And what we find out is, if you kill a shepherd, you become the shepherd. And so the shepherds have hellhounds. And it's very interesting because the previous shepherd has a hellhound that it kind of dies, but then it comes back to life as a different hellhound. And it's the cutest dog you've ever seen. It's really funny. I really have to give Yarsky just props for that, because it's just like a fun, normal dog. It's not like a hellhound or anything. And it's really funny. And so now we're going to see where, now Jerome's a shepherd. He has to go look for demons. So he was hiding out from demons, and now he's looking for demons. So that really, I think, sets up a really interesting story. I really like what Yarsky has done here with the story. I think she built the first issue quite nicely. You get to know all the players and everything, and kind of, she sets up the basic story, and, there's that nice twist of like, him becoming a shepherd, and it's like, now he has to go hunt demons, and it's like, well, wait a second, yeah, okay. And her art is really, really good. I really liked it. I'm really familiar with, she did the Black Hammer, story, and the art was really, really nice. And she's really done a wonderful job. This is a really good looking book. It's well worth checking out. I really like the story. The art was great. And I'm really intrigued to where the second issue is going to go. And that's always a good thing if you're kind of excited to see where the second issue goes. So well worth checking out. Next up, we have The Fade #1 by Abrina Ingar, with artwork by Mari Costa. So what this is Janine, she's a college freshman, and she's kind of having these dreams about like this, fantasy world, kind of a mirror world to ours. And, she goes online, and there's people that, have these rituals that you can, look into the mirror world, but she's actually having, dreams about it. And, what it is the mirror, mirror world's kind of like our world, but it's like a fantasy world. And she ends up being transported to the mirror world, and that's kind of what the story is. I found it to be kind of okay. It was kind of a bit off to a slow start, and it's kind of one of those. It didn't, I kind of felt like I've read this story before. It wasn't like it was bad or anything. It just felt very, a little on the pedestrian side. It's like, teenage angst. Somewhat, and, kind of wanting to discover another world, and, I don't fit into this world, maybe I'll fit in the other world. It just, like I said, the story was kind of okay. It wasn't great, it wasn't terrible, it was just kind of okay. Costa's art, was nice, but, there was really, I noticed a lot of lack of backgrounds, which, that really does bug me after a while, because for me, color is not a background. And, it's kind of like, it's not that I don't like manga. I just don't. I just felt that the artwork was a little bit on the simplistic side. Once again, not bad, just kind of very simple. I know this is kind of aimed at, young adults and everything, but I just felt that it was just kind of average in the end. It just wasn't quite good enough. Or compelling enough for me to even want to get a second issue. I don't think it's bad by any stretch of the imagination, and I'll be honest that I'm not necessarily the target audience for it, but in the long run, I just think that it's kind of okay. Next up, we have Little Batman Month 1, written by Morgan Evans, with artwork by John Mickle. Now, this takes place after the animated film Merry Little Batman that is available on Amazon Prime. You can watch it there. If you've not seen that, I really, really recommend it. It was really, it's 2D animation. It's really well done. I love the art style. Very different for kind of a Batman story. And basically that story is a young, very tiny or young Damon Wayne, and he kind of becomes Little Batman. And so in the film they stop the Joker, so this takes place right after that, the movie. And so he's like, I want to fight crime, I beat the Joker. And so Bruce is like, yeah, you'll be a superhero, and he takes him out to clean up the park and help old ladies across the street. And Damon's like, I want to fight bad guys. And Bruce is like, helping out is a good thing. So they're having this party at Wayne Manor, and Damian discovers there's this strange lady kind of lurking around the house. And then Scarecrow shows up and basically kidnaps Bruce. And now Damian, they've stolen his father. And that's a setup for the story in this. Evans actually was one of the writers of the original, of the feature film. So it really makes sense that he knows the characters and everything. And Mickle's artwork is it's really gorgeous. He really captures the style that was set in the film, that the character designs and stuff, but he really just breathes life into it on on a comic page, and it just really it pops, and he captures the emotions of Damian, and just like I said, I love the style of the movie, and I'm glad Mickle was able to really capture that in the comic. And it's of course, the other thing is the cover. It appears that each cover is going to be homage to a classic Batman cover, and of course this cover is an homage to Batman Year One. So that is really just adorable. The thing is, it's not only fun, it's a great all ages book, but I think as an adult, I just really fell in love with it. It's super charming and fun, and like I said, the story's great, the artwork's amazing. This was one of the funnest reads I had this week. I really just love this book and cannot wait to see how the story unfolds. So I'm very excited, and it's well worth picking up. One of my big wins for this week. Next up, we have Ducktales #1, written by Brandon Montclair, with artwork by Tommaso Ronda. So what this is, it's a story of Uncle Scrooge. He's in the money vault, and Huey, Dewey, and Louie are counting money, and they ask Uncle Scrooge, how did you get all your money? So he tells these stories of this is how I got money, this adventure and this adventure. But what really makes this book really pop is that when he tells the adventures, it's that Ronda does the style of classic Carl Barks Disney comics. So it's kind of like modern comics during the present day, but when they do the flashbacks to that, it's very classic Carl Barks Disney comics. So that was a real treat and a big surprise. The main story was none of the stories is really deep or anything. They're just fun little stories. I liked, the homage to classic Disney and Carl Barks. That was the big win. I think if you're a fan of the Ducktales and Uncle Scrooge, It's worth checking out. And like I said, the Karl Barks homage was just really perfect. The style, they even did like the fake Zipatone on it, and it was really a lot of fun. So that was, and it's a really good all ages comic. So I'm glad that Dynamite's done really good with like the Disney license, and so hopefully they'll keep doing more. So we'll see. Next up we have JSA #1, written by Jeff Lemire with artwork by Diego Ortogi. Sorry if I apologize for butchering that name. So what this takes place, so obviously this comes out of Absolute Power, so you kind of have the Golden Age JSA, the classic original team, and then you have from the 80s, you have Infinity Incorporated, which was kind of, somewhat, the more Bronze Age of the Justice Society. And so they were all brought together for the Absolute Power. So this kind of spins out of this, where you have like the old guard and the new guard. And so what it really is, it kind of sets that up. It shows you what happened in Absolute Power. Then it goes to the present day, where it's the JSA is mostly the Infinity Inc. characters, the more modern Jade, Obsidian, and those characters, and the Golden Age JSA is missing, and we find out that they're in the Golden Tower of Fate. It kind of looks like hell, and we don't know why they're there or anything. And then we find out that one of the Justice Society of America's classic villain, the other society, that goes back to the Golden Age of the original Justice Society, but I will not reveal it because there's the reveal at the end. I don't want to spoil it, but if you know that what the opposite of the Justice Society is, then you'll know what I'm talking about. It was a little bit rough for a first issue for new readers. Now, I had read Infinity Incorporated back in the day, and so I knew the characters and stuff. I think a lot of people are not necessarily going to be familiar with them. And it's been a while since the JSA has had like a regular book. Now I know that there was recently the one that came out, but it's been so long that I think that's only for really the Jeff Johns series has been so delayed that really it's a lot of the really going to be left to the hardcore people reading that. It is a fresh start for the book, but like I said, I don't know that it's super new reader friendly, although I think Lemire does a good job of at least kind of saying, okay, here's these people, and kind of, putting together. Part of the thing with Justice Society is there's a lot of continuity that goes with it. So I think it's kind of tough to bring it up to date, especially for new readers. So, I think it's a good first issue. I mean, I really enjoyed it, but I'm more familiar with the characters. I think for some new readers, it's going to be a little rough for this first issue, but I think if I'm a big fan of Jeff Lemire, so I think give it a couple issues and kind of let him kind of really set up what's going on. You can you can see the seeds of that in this first issue, but I think it's just going to be a little bit of, he's going to have to build it up a little bit. Diego's artwork, we'll just stick with Diego's first name. I apologize profusely. The artwork is really nice. I really enjoyed it. I think he did a good job of really bringing both the new characters in the original, the Golden Age and the Bronze Age together really nicely. Like I said, it's just going to be a little bit of a slow burn on the first few issues to kind of get it up to speed. But like I said, I think with Lemire's track record, I think we'll kind of see where it goes, but I think it's worth checking out. Just be cautious if you're a new reader to the Justice Society. It's going to be a little on the rough side, but you can see what he's trying to do with setting up the old and the new team kind of being as one. So we'll see where it goes, but I think it's off to a good start. If you're a fan of JSA, I think you're going to get this. For new readers, I think we'll see if we'll, if Jeff can bring you into the fold. And I think that's what I'm looking forward to. Next up, we have Aliens versus Avengers #2, written by Jonathan Hickman with artwork by Ised Ribic. So what this is I really have to give it to Hickman. He really has gone and studied the Alien film continuity, because he's mixed there's a lot of different, there's Prometheus thrown in, there's all sorts of stuff. So we see characters from the Prometheus era of the alien mythology. And basically what it is the Wayland Corporation is basically taken over Stark Industries. And, so as we saw in the first issue, the aliens are just running rampant on Earth. So Tony has basically set up a fail-safe plan if they can't really take back the Earth from the aliens, that the city was actually built as a defense system for the building, which is it's a tower that is, basically it's built a colony ship to save the last of humans. And so that's really what it is. And I don't really want to give much of the story away, because there's really some really heartfelt moments in it. But I have to really give Hickman, I like how he's bringing all the different mythologies from Prometheus to, up to, all that mythology, and kind of incorporating the story, and then throwing the Avengers into it is really, and plus it's set in the future. So like, Cap and everybody's old, everybody's much older. So that's kind of a neat twist on it. And Ribic's artwork is just gorgeous. It's a really great looking book. I'm really enjoying this. But I think, being that it's a miniseries, it might be worth trade waiting for some people, but I am enjoying it as it's coming out monthly, and definitely it's well worth checking out. I'm really surprised how good it is. So that one definitely is well worth picking up this week. Next up, we have Batgirl #1, written by Tate Brombell with artwork by Takashi Miyazawa. So the basic story here is this Batgirl's Cassandra Cain, and her mom is Lady Shiva, and she comes to Gotham to warn Cassandra that, she needs to get out of Gotham because this ninja gang is after him, the Unburied. And that's basically the story. There really isn't much else. They're talking to each other, and the ninjas come, and then they fight ninjas, and then they get away, and then they fight more ninjas, and that's pretty much the story. That was really the problem, is that I didn't get to really know who Cassandra Cain is as a, say, fresh reader into this. I certainly didn't get to know that Lady Shiva, it's like, okay, it's her mom, and I guess she hates her mom, and okay, I got that. But really nothing, there's no plot to this first issue. I'm really very surprised about this, because it's just kind of like, oh, here's these two, and here's ninjas that hate them, and I guess, and really that's it. There is no plot to this. I'm really I'm really kind of disappointed, because I'm like, okay, I'm not really familiar with the current Cassandra Cain. So I'm like, okay, I want to learn about her. But Brombell did not do that. I don't think it's horrible. It's just like, you feel like you're dropped in the middle. This seems like a third or fourth issue, and I don't know what really the setup is. I didn't really get to know the characters. It's really just, it's, if you've been reading Batgirl, or of the character that's kind of been going on, that's great. But if you're a new reader, you're just like, okay, this is nice, they're fighting ninjas, but who are these people? And that's really where it kind of, really falls apart. And Miyazawa's artwork is nice, but they can only do so much with the artwork. I mean, it's nice artwork, but there's just really no story there. And that's very unfortunate, because at least like, say JSA, at least gives you like some plot there. There's like actual some story as an example for new readers. But with Batgirl, there's nothing there. So this is a big skip this week. It's really kind of sad. I was kind of hoping that the All In, especially when they do new stuff, would be a bit more new reader friendly, but in this case, it's just kind of a disappointment. Next up, we have FML #1, written by Kelly Sue DeConnick, with artwork by David Lopez. So what this is so there's this boy Riley. He kind of draws a lot and everything, and his mom was in this band called Riot Girls, and her stage name was Patty Cake. And so once again, his mom was kind of this, big, kind of underground rock punk, she was in this punk band. And so he asked her about, the band, and she doesn't want to talk about it and everything. So, in a way, he kind of is creating his own band with his friend. But they end up going to this, abandoned structure in the Portland Forest area. And everybody refers to as Witch Castle. And so while they're there, they kind of tell ghost stories. And so they tell stories, and then they decide to have a ritual to call witches there. And then the next morning, Riley wakes up and something has gone wrong. I will not reveal, but it's like, oh, oops. It's really interesting. I would say, it's a little rough around the edges for a first issue, but I will give DeConnick that she does a really nice job of introducing all the characters and everything. I think it's rough because it's like, okay, there's a lot of questions, but not many answers, which is not necessarily a bad thing. But I think it's also like, she's setting things up. So, it's going to be one of those, I think we'll learn as we go along, which is actually, I think, a good thing. We don't want to reveal everything all at once. I think the twist at the end was not so much shocking, but it's like, oh, that's going to be interesting. So I did really like it. And Lopez's artwork is really nice. This is a really good looking book. I also like when he, does the artwork, for Riley's artwork, he draws it like on, like he would draw it in a notebook or something. And I thought that was really, really a neat idea. And, like I said, the artwork's really good. The concept of the story is really quite interesting. I think it can go in a lot of different directions with the setup that DeConnick has done here. It's a very interesting first issue, and I like, it's an original property, so it's definitely something different, and that's always a plus. Is when you can do something different and it's entertaining, that's a big win, because we definitely need more unique and kind of creative driven comics. Superheroes are great, but we also need a lot of different stuff, and DeConnick and Lopez have delivered it here. And finally this week we have Plastic Man No More #3, written by Christopher Cantwell, with artwork by Alex Linz and Jacob Edgar. So as we saw last issue that, so Plastic Man has been sprayed with a chemical, and now he's deteriorating. So, his doctor says that maybe if he sets himself off in a nuclear explosion, it will fix him. So he goes to get uranium from the metal men, and he ends up killing all the metal men except for uranium. And so now he needs the help of his son, Luke, to, because if this may infect him, or may have infected him. But what we learn this issue is that Plastic Man is basically kind of working with the enemy. That we find out Dr. No Face he's asked him to help him, pull off this, bomb to fix him. And so this issue really kind of deals with kind of how he, kind of basically, convinces Luke and kind of kidnaps Luke and gets Luke involved with which is his son. And it's really kind of takes a big turn of how, he's kind of relying on this villain to help him. And it's like, Plastic Man's a hero, but now he's not so much a villain. I mean, he's just trying to save himself, but he's kind of like, and then I don't want to really mention what's going on with Detective Chimp, because there's really some messed up stuff there. But this has been a really interesting series. I really have to get Cantwell. He's really done a really neat story here. Very different, but very much Plastic Man, kind of the goofy Plastic Man, kind of, he's not the sharpest tack in the box, but, he's he's kind of honest, and that's what's really interesting about this issue's twist of, you know, is he is a hero, but you know, he's trying to survive, and we get that. Now Alex Linz is the main artist, but then Edgar does kind of scenes with when he's with the Justice League. He does those sequences. So Lynn, both their artwork is really amazing. Edgar's has a really cartoony look, which is kind of, it fits really well when he's with the Justice League. And Lynn's artwork is very kind of like cartoony, but kind of mixed with realism. And it's a really neat, visually, this book has been amazing. And like I said, it'll be really interesting to see how they all race the end, because the next issue is the final issue for this, because 4-issue miniseries. Like I said, I've really, really enjoyed this book, so it'll be interesting to see how it all comes together in the end. So, that, you know, it's still well worth picking up. I've enjoyed it. That's going to do it this week. As always, public service announcement. I get all my comics at Pulp Fiction Comics, Long Beach, California. Ryan Skinner runs a Great Stories, the owner. There's Annie, there's Wendy. Derek runs our socials. They offer discounts on trades every day. They have a pull service, and you get a discount if you order enough books per month, so that way you don't miss anything. So that's why, you know, Ryan, they pull the books, and I have my books. It's a really great comic store if you're in the Long Beach area. Definitely well worth checking out. It's a really solid comic shop. And as always, we end our show with Be Kind. We have our little Be Kind statue here, thanks to Debbie and John. I think we all need, especially after this week, on many different levels, to be kind to each other. It's rough out there on many different levels. I know a lot of people are out of work. The economy is not great. The election, and yeah, the world's kind of crazy right now. There's war in the Middle East. It's just tough, but being kind to others and being kind to yourself, taking care of yourself, is really important right now. So, be kind to others and be kind to yourself and take care of yourself. Cause like I said, I know it's tough out there. You know, even in my work, we've had layoffs, and it's really tough out there right now for a lot of people. So just be kind to each other, no matter what. We will always have disagreements, but that doesn't mean that you still can't be kind. And, you know, and take care of yourself. I know, like I said, things are rough, you know, but taking care of yourself is very, very important right now. So, just, you know, be kind to each other and take care of yourselves. And then buy more comics. Comics always help. And that helps support your local comic shop, which is being kind. That's going to do it this week. Thanks for watching. Sorry we're late this week. I appreciate, we've had a lot of new subscribers. Comments are welcome. Like I said, hopefully next week we'll get it a little bit back on track. It's just been kind of crazy at work, which kind of, you know, affects my free time to do all this. So take care of yourselves. Be kind to each other. Be kind to yourself. This is Steven from popculturemaven.com signing off. We'll see you hopefully later this week. Take care of yourselves, and just be kind. Take care. Bye-bye.